and welcome back to All Talk No Balk, your one-stop shop for all things baseball. I'm Heather Brett.
And I'm Charles Duncan. How's your week going so far, Heather? It's good to be back on the show.
I know it's great to be back. My week has been great. Charles, it's getting warmer here in LA, and everything's been exciting. Baseball's been exciting. My personal life's been exciting. It's all good. How are you, Chuck?
I'm feeling good. I'm finally getting out in the sun, enjoying some summer weather. You know, we're talking about summer camp today and spring training. Why don't you tell all the folks out there what we're talking about today?
Yeah, so we're talking about summer camp in two ways. We're talking about that's what they're calling spring training this year. They're calling it summer camp because spring is far behind us, and it just started yesterday, I believe. So that's what we're going to talk about.
So excited.
I know, we're pumped. And we're also going to be talking about getting nostalgic. We're going to be throwing it back a little bit. We're going to be talking about our favorite baseball memories. So we're thrilled about that. And we're going to be having three guests on the podcast today. Two of them are writers on the Bullpen. And one of them is a friend of Charles. So we're really excited to be talking with them. And we promise this episode is much more diverse in its in the teams that we mentioned. It won't just be Dodgers Angels, right, Charles? We're going to try really hard.
That's right. In fact, we're talking spring training, and there's more than just two teams that are going to spring training this year, Heather.
Yep.
We got to realize that. And I am gonna start off by talking about the fact that the MLB is actually nearing a deal to play in Toronto for training and for some of the season, which is great because they're allowing people to come in and practice and play and visit without any isolation. Take that at its own value, if you will. If you think it's a good thing, great, because maybe they're doing good things and they have universal health care. So I think that they're doing a smart thing and allowing free visitation. So we'll see. Without isolation, I think it's good. I think that it gives the players another spot to play, and it shows that we still have that relationship with our buddies from up north. We got the Toronto Blue Jays. We still got to rep them.
And Charles, I should be saying the Toronto Blue Jays will come up later in the podcast when we talk about sleeper teams in the shortened season.
Ooh, I'm interested to see who's got the Blue Jays. I feel like you're hitting at that, Heather. We got a little inside scoop at what Heather might be talking about later. A little foreshadowing, guys. I mean, it's exciting, right? We finally made it. I was, pumped about it as you were talking about it earlier. We made it to July. We're recording the day before the 4th of July. Everyone has the day off if, you're in a government working place or whatever. Most people have the day off today, which is great. So we're hoping that you get a nice long weekend and you're going to come check this out on Sunday at noon. We can't wait. I bet.
We're excited. Yes. So a couple of trades and signings have gone on this week. Nothing huge, but certainly some significant moves. I like it that Matt Kemp is signing with the Rockies. I think that's hilarious. He's played all around the NL West. We will miss him. The Dodger
yes.
So
Padres, Rockies. Who's next? Diamondbacks.
Yeah. I know, right? Is it comparable? I don't know. Matt Kemp is certainly a veteran, but it's exciting for him, and I'm excited that he still gets to play in the league because he can slug. What about you, Charles?
Yeah, he's a great look for the league too. He's got a great face. He's just a great guy, and I'm glad that he's still in the league. He's like
fan crush on Matt Kemp, Charles.
I do. I have a few fan crushes out there, Heather. Mike Trout's one of them. He's one of them. Who else do I got out there? Bryce Harper was one until he went to the Phillies, but I got a few man crushes out there. But speaking of which, a big signing in Melky Cabrera going to the Mets. I mean, that was out of the blue with Gordon Beckham and Hunter Strickland. That's awesome. And they're already adding to a stacked roster. They got Robinson Cano now. They have, Drew Smith, J.D. Davis over at third. Wilson Ramos, all these guys. Noah Syndergaard is still pitching for him. They still have DeGrom, all these guys that are still good on their pitching staff. So I'm not saying that's my sleeper team, Heather, but I'm not writing them off just yet. The Mets, everyone writes them off every year because they're the Mets. But I like them this year. I don't know. I think they got some veteran guys and some good leadership. It sucks that that David left, but you know, it is what it is. They had him for a great long time, and they'll miss him for sure.
Yes, it's very exciting. And so now on to your take, our take, Charles. Let's do it. Welcome back, everyone, to All Talk No Balk. And we're here with Zach, Sebastian, and Alex. They're all here to talk about their favorite baseball memories with us, and we're so excited to have them. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Okay, so I guess we'll start with Charles. Do you want to go last? And I guess we'll start with Zach over here. So Zach, our Chicago native, our Cub fan. Let's do it.
Real quick, Heather. I just want to state, Zach Fisher is a Chicago Cubs fan. Alex Wohl is going to be talking about the Phillies, and Sebastian Moore over here in the bottom right is going to be talking Yankees. So we hope all you guys are ready, and we got a big diverse list for you for your take, our take. So let's start it off.
Let's do it. Go ahead, Zach.
All right. Well, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I am a diehard Cubs fan. I'm from the North Shore suburbs in Chicago. And so there's only one real obvious best sports memory for me related to baseball, and that's the Cubs winning the 2016 World Series. AKA, maybe Game 7 was the greatest game of baseball ever played. Maybe the best game I've ever witnessed personally. So that's my obvious number one choice, but I have a better story that I like to tell. And that was a time when I was at Wrigley in 2013. It was right after the Blackhawks actually won their second Stanley Cup, and they were there. I think it was in July. The Blackhawks were at Wrigley for a Cubs versus White Sox game. And so the Cubs were playing the White Sox. The Blackhawks were walked around the field with the Stanley Cup. I was lucky enough to be in like the 5th row, so I was almost close enough to touch the cup. And all three teams at the end posed together for probably the most Chicago photo of all time. And it just made me really, really proud of my city, proud to be a Chicago sports fan. And it was overall just a really cool thing to witness, and I'm glad I got to be there.
That's awesome.
These two, Zach, they needed it, man. It had been too long. The curse was going on for too dang long, man.
It was.
Great memory. I love it, man. Let's turn it over to Alex, our Phillies fan. What do you got for us, man?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have a Phillies story except the one time where the Yankees came to town a couple years ago, and that was great. There was a lot more Yankee fans there than Philly. But my best memory in terms of baseball will be in a minor league game. Actually, it was at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The Senators, they're the AA team of the Washington Nationals. Boo! And so Bryce Harper was still in the minor leagues. He just got drafted that year, so he was still in Harrisburg. And on the same team for Harrisburg, Steven Strasburg was in rehab. He had a pitching assignment that day. So he was pitching for like 3 innings. And on the other team, they were playing the Erie Seawolves. They are the AA team of the Detroit Tigers. Ooh. And on that team, they had a special appearance by Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. He was playing in that game too. So it's 3 huge stars, one still in the minor leagues and 2 like legends of the game playing against each other. And it was huge. Like this stadium usually fills like 5,000 seats, but there was like over 10,000 people at this game on a Thursday night even. And the best part, back in the day on Thursdays, the Senators would have a special dollar night. They would have dollar hot dogs, dollar soft drinks, and dollar beers. And you can imagine the dollar beers were the most popular thing there. What was fun about this game is that I was sitting out in left field where Harper was playing. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't old enough to drink by then, but there was a group of college kids in the same section as me. And, oh, man, they were having a blast. And they were Senators fans too, but they were hating on Bryce Harper. And Harper unfortunately went 0 for 4 that night. And one of the kids shouted at him saying, "Hey Harper, I didn't pay $6 to watch you go 0 for 4 tonight." It was that's great. And Erie ended up winning that game, and it was the biggest crowd in Harrisburg Center's history. It still is. But it was fun. For a Thursday night in July, it was fun.
That's awesome.
It must have been an amazing sight, Alex. To have double the capacity, just people just down there.
Buying a ticket was not easy. I mean, I paid $6 just to go, but I mean, who wouldn't? Like the most expensive ticket there was like $15 behind home plate.
Yeah, and I'm sure that started a big trend right now, which is a lot of Bryce Harper haters out there. So, I'm sure I'm sure people were angry then, and they're angry now.
Yeah, and there's one other part I forgot to mention. For Erie, their left fielder, I don't know his name, but his last name was Roof. And these college kids were hating Bryce Harper so much, they were actually cheering for the other left fielder for Erie. And every time he got a base hit, he got like 2 base hits that night. And they chant his name, Roof.
That sounds like a boo. So that's
it sounded like a boo, but no, they were cheering for him. They were saying Roof.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Sebastian, what do you got for us, my man?
Cool. So yeah, I've been growing up in the LA area for most of my life. So my dad has Dodgers season tickets. He has had them for 20, 25 years or so now. And just for the record, I used to be a Dodger fan back in the day, back when Paulo Duca, Juan Pierre, Sean Green, Jeff Kent, James Loney, back when all those guys were on Dodgers. A couple years later, I switched sides to the Yankees. Don't hate me for that. Stop it. Regardless, so now I'm a Yankee fan, with the stacked squad with Judge, Stanton, Cole, Sanchez, Torres, everyone like that. But speaking of Stanton, taking me back to one of my favorite baseball memories is probably when I had the chance to meet Stanton. It was the game of May 12th in 2015 at Dodger Stadium when he actually hit a home run that went out of Dodger Stadium. I think there were 2 outs in the first inning. 0-1 count, and he launched one, I think 467 feet out of Dodger Stadium, exit velocity of 114 miles per hour according to ESPN's home run tracker. So that was awesome. Dodgers ended up winning 11-1. I mean, that's kind of what you expect when you're playing Miami back in 2015. But that's beside the point. So after the game, Stanton is originally from the LA area. He went to Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks. And a couple of my dad's friends who sat behind him, who also have season tickets, they actually went to high school with Giancarlo Stanton. So after the game, me and my dad, along with Stanton's high school buddies, got to go meet him after the game. I don't remember exactly where it was, behind the stadium, kind of where the team buses. Stan didn't travel with the team that day because he is from the LA area. He actually drove off in his black Maserati, which was awesome. But as a 17-year-old kid standing next to Stanton, who's a giant basically and still is, it was like literally seeing a living legend. It was, if you can put it into words, it's like you're literally looking up to either a giant or your hero or whatever it is. So that was really awesome as a 17-year-old kid who's still playing high school ball and everything like that. He was really nice. Got an autographed ball from him, got to take a picture with him. And yeah, it was probably one of my favorite memories from baseball ever. Yeah.
That's great, Sebastian. That's such a sweet story. And I'm glad that he's a Yankee now for you. And what an exciting full circle event.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very excited to see him smash some more homers in New York.
Yeah, Notre Dame, crazy. As you can see here, I don't know if anyone caught it, I'm wearing a Loyola Cubs hat. So it's a big rival of Loyola. And Giancarlo actually played really close to where I'm at right now. I'm in Arcadia, and he played, like, I think it was one inning of a game at Arroyo Seco Baseball, which is just south of the Rose Bowl. And he had one at bat and he absolutely just sent it. The only at bat that he had, and it just went totally out, and then he just left. That's all he needs to do: make an appearance, hit a jack, and leave. It seems like
done. That's how easy it is for him.
Yeah, right. Heather, do you want to get into your memory now? Thank you so much again, Sebastian. That was great.
Hey, no problem.
Love that you got to meet him.
Yes. So I, of course, am going to give you a Dodger memory or two. Let me set the scene for you guys. It is a warm Sunday afternoon, about 1:00. And we had tickets to the Dodgers Rockies affair that afternoon. This is last year, and 2 rookies had already hit walk-off home runs for the Dodgers, which was already a record. And, it was a really good game, I would say, for the most part. I believe Kenta Maeda was pitching, and it was a close game. Late in the game, it was tied. And so then we get a little nervous. And, of course, being at the game, you just want to see a win. And we were actually also with friends, I should mention. Shout out to my former writing professor from UC Santa Barbara, Kara Mae Brown, and her husband were with us. So we were with friends. So you want them to see a win too, just, you know how it is. And so it's bottom of the 9th and still tied, 2 men on. Here comes Will Smith, sends it to center right, I guess I should say, and goes just over the wall. The guy was like right there to catch it, but it went right over the wall. Crowd goes crazy. That was awesome. I also want to give honorable mention to Justin Turner's another 3-run walk-off home run. This is Zach, this is the NLCS Game 2 that we all remember so well from 2017. That was just a magical season that unfortunately was manipulated. It's a nice way to put it. So it didn't end in the Dodgers' favor that year, but that was a really cool memory. And I just watched that on TV, but I watched it in real time, I guess you can say. And I was running around the house and my dog was going crazy. So that was really fun. But yes, that Will Smith from last year, that was awesome to be at that game. And the crowd was just wild. Everybody was high-fiving. Of course, with COVID, you can't imagine that type of thing happening where people are hugging each other. And it was just such a fun afternoon. It was hot that afternoon, but it was really cool to be there. And I look forward to, and that season didn't end the way we wanted either, of course, but hopefully this year breeds different results. So that was my memory. What about yours, Charles?
Man, why you gotta call out Zach like that? He's not gonna want to come back. He's like,
sorry, Zach. I know.
What the heck?
So you guys have.
I have one memory, obviously. I mean, it's gonna be pretty obvious, just like Zach's. We only have one, even since I've been alive, just in our history. But I was 4 years old. My dad calls me out, and we got David makes the catch, as you've always heard on the Angels Jumbotron. And it was just the most amazing scene to see everyone come together, especially against the Giants in game 7. Just to have them come together was awesome, especially at Angel Stadium, and everything was great. So that was an awesome memory for me. But my favorite memory that I could remember was watching Nick Aidenhart pitch in his first start. I was at the game, and it was amazing. He did so well, and we won the game. And then you find out that next day that, he had been killed in a collision with a drunk driver. And I thought that when they brought out his jersey and everyone was standing on the mound, just like they did with Skaggs recently. But I just remember that Aidenhart one, and it really was just a great memory for me to see him being honored like that, because he was such a good soul, such a young kid. And it was just so tragic, but that was really nice just to honor him like that. And they still have his jersey, I believe, out there in center field. So it was just really nice to see that. It was a great memory.
Wow.
And now we got our next take, Heather. Sorry to transition like that, but it was just, it was a really heartwarming memory for me. But yeah, we're going into our next question with the extended playoff now. It's going to be really interesting to see which teams get in and which sleepers might even have a chance now. So we're pitching it to you guys first. Zach, if you want to start us off, who do you think maybe it's your Cubbies, maybe it's someone else, but who do you think is under the radar this season for maybe making a run for it all?
I mean, it's a broad answer, but it's really anyone's year. I mean, it's just the nature of, a 60-game season. Just someone gets hot, then any team could end up taking it this year. I love my Cubbies. I'm worried about this year. We've had some pretty good 60-game stretches over the last 3 years. Had some pretty bad ones too. Last season started off really slow, so I'm hoping we turn that around. But there's new blood in the clubhouse, at least with David Ross, who I honestly think is the biggest move we've made in a few years, because I love Joe Madden. He got us the ring, but the last 3 seasons have been him just over managing everything. So I hope he tones it back a little bit for your Angels, but it was just every decision he makes is like overthought, like crazy, where everything he does is almost too complicated. And it to me, it hit its peak in Chicago, and it started, the effects of it weren't as strong as they were in 2016. And so I think it's
Dave Roberts.
Excuse you.
I didn't say it. I did not say it. So,
But that in there, I got your back, Zach.
The other teams I'd say I'm worried about. I mean, you can never count out the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm pretty worried about them. I'll be honest. Who else? I mean, it's so hard to pick one team this year because it could literally be anybody. The Phillies could get hot. I mean, I don't want to pick a big, bold, like the Astros obviously are going to be in it. The Yankees will be in it. There's like the Dodgers will be in it. Like everyone, all the teams you expect to be there should be. But we could get a rarity. Maybe the D-backs make a run. I'll go with them.
There you go.
No rhyme or reason, but it's anybody's season, and I feel like, a big name is not going to win it this year.
Okay, hot take from Zach. What about you, Alex? Let's go with you.
Well, I have to agree with Zach here. Like, with this being a 60-game season, literally anybody has a chance of winning the World Series this year. Like any team like the Yankees, the Cubs, even the Marlins, down the very bottom, the Marlins have a shot of winning the World Championship this year. And I'm serious about that. Like if you read my last article, that my grandfather used to think that 162 games was too many. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people agree with that. But yes. And so, like, with the All-Star game in a normal season, like we see a lot of teams get hot in the first half of the season, but then they fall apart in the second half after the All-Star break. And so now there is no All-Star break. I mean, sorry about the Dodgers losing the All-Star game.
They're getting him back in 2022.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I was going to bring that up, Alex. We have a breaking news that the MLB just canceled the 2020 All-Star game, and the Dodgers are now to host it in 2022. I was going to bring that up in our next segment, but I didn't want to cut anybody off.
Let me just quickly add, that could be before Dodger fans lament too hard. This could be good because 2022 marks the 75th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier. It also marks the 60th anniversary since they moved to Dodger Stadium. So there's a little bit of a milestone there. So I'm so sorry, Alex. I just wanted to say that for all Dodger fans out there that are concerned. But keep going, please.
Hey, typical Dodgers fan right here. So anyway, so last year when we saw the season, the one team that got hot in the first half of the season were the Phillies. So I bet you with the Phillies now having Joe Girardi as their manager, I feel like the Phillies can make a big run in the playoffs this year. I really do believe that. I'm not saying that as a fan, but I'm saying that as a real baseball reporter. Like, the Phillies have a shot this year, and I hope to God they do, and they play the Yankees in the World Series. But I don't know. Like, as much as I love to see the Yankees win the whole thing, but the Phillies, I got to give it to them. And another sleeping team that I like to add, sorry for the Cubs fan, but I think the White Sox have a chance
Oh,
to win this
definitely.
year.
The White Sox are much better than the Cubs this year.
Oh yeah, you see who they picked up this past offseason. Like they have a lot of talent this year. Like this is gonna be the best White Sox season they had in a long time. Even if it's just 60 games, this is gonna be their best season for the first time in forever. And who knows? We could probably see an all Chicago World Series this year again. Like who knows? But yeah, White Sox and the Phillies. Those are the two teams that I think people should keep an eye on this year.
All right, Alex, we'll take a look for you. Now, what about Sebastian? Who do you got right now?
I hear all your guys' arguments of 60-game season, short season, everyone's got a chance. I don't believe it. I hear you, but I don't believe it. Right off the bat, my World Series prediction is the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the New York Yankees. Obviously, there's no doubt in my mind that those are the two powerhouse teams of the AL and the NL. So there's no doubt in my mind that, especially with the shortened 60-game season, where now every single game will really, really matter, especially the early ones, the Yankees and the Dodgers have it all the way. There's no doubt in my mind. On Alex's point of the Marlins, I'm looking at MLB's posts via Fangraphs that they posted yesterday on Instagram. The original percentage chance for the Miami Marlins postseason chance was a 0.1%.
I saw that.
With a 60-game shortened season, their postseason chances have climbed to an 8.7.
Yeah.
So yes, every team has a chance. I totally see it. Even with the Phillies going up from 18.2% to 30.4%. Yes, I see it. Every team has a chance, but it's going to be the Yankees and Dodgers. There's no doubt in my mind. You might make an argument for Houston, but now that they can't bang on a trash can anymore, then I don't think that they will have a great shot, especially with so much backlash from the rest of the league. You can also make a solid argument for maybe the Padres, who have a very young squad, who have Machado, who have Hosmer, Kirby Yates, Francisco behind the dish, and I think 5 top 100 prospects as well, 4 of which I believe have made the 60-man roster. So you could make an argument for them. And again, just like you guys said, you really could make an argument for any team in the short 60-game season. But I'm sticking by my pick of Yankees versus Dodgers, and Yankees are taking it in 6.
Okay, that's enough of that. Thank you, Sebastian. No, I'm just kidding. That was a great one.
I got something really quick. What do you got, Zach?
I'd like to make a slight addendum to what I said earlier. So I've been thinking about this more, and I've been thinking that with a 60-game season, there's more and more importance on pitching. Just because you need a strong rotation throughout the roster. This isn't like a year for just starters. You pitch them hard, sure, but you're going to need deep bullpens. So I think the most slept-on pitching team.
3 innings now.
Yes.
3 innings. Pitchers
right.
minimum 3.
Of 3 innings, so you're going to need rotation. You're going to need those players.
Correct, and minimum 3 batters now for any reliever. Correct. So I'm going to say the Tampa Bay Rays, because they have maybe the most underappreciated pitching staff in baseball, one of the deepest bullpens, and had a great season last year that kind of just got swept under the radar. So maybe they get hot again.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Even from a Yankee perspective, the Rays have definitely always been that one sleeper team that might get you at the end of the season. They always get hot at some point. And I mean, 90 wins is definitely not something to be ashamed about, especially for such a small franchise team like the Rays. They're very good. They can handle themselves in a powerhouse league that is the AL East. So yeah, the Rays seem like a decent shot, especially with the 60-game season. And just like all you guys said, again, with a shorter season, yes, there's many possibilities, but I will still count out those smaller teams like Miami, maybe even the Reds might be a good sleeper. Giants, you can count those guys out. But yeah, I do like that pick with the Rays. I think that's better than the Cubs.
Yes. Well, Zach stole my sleeper team.
What happened with the Blue Jays?
I'm so sorry. I have some others if you want another one.
That's okay. I have a lot more. I just want to say though, to agree with Sebastian's point, we're all talking about the younger teams that could get hot, but let's not forget that postseason play still is strongest with veterans on your team. And the Dodgers have a beautiful combination of both that I don't need to go into. They have one of the strongest farm systems, and they also have your Turners, your David Prices, even your AJ Pollocks. Heck, at this point, Corey Seager's a veteran. So, and he's like 26 or 27, maybe even 25. So in the footnotes, we will correct me. Okay. So, I just want to say that the Dodgers have everything to be strong in the 60-game sprint and also in the postseason. As we know, and I said this last week as well, if you guys were listening last week, my prediction was also Dodgers-Yankees. Dodgers in 6. So because Sebastian and I both work at the bullpen, it'll be an interesting October there at the bullpen. We'll see if things get hot. Who knows? Will Yankees win? Maybe. Will I be upset? Definitely. So, no. Let's hope the Dodgers win because the Dodgers have a bigger draft than the Yankees, and it's their time. Okay? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I disagree.
Okay,
I think the I won't even go into the 2017. Dodgers were robbed more.
Dodgers were robbed more. Thank you for admitting that. Also, the following year. Let's not talk about that though. My sleeper team was going to be Tampa due to their pitching, but I'm gonna go ahead. I already said Toronto because at some point their talent will pan out and they will be a threat. I don't know if that time is now. I don't know if it's in a year or two. But with Vlad, with Bo Bichette, etc., they certainly have pieces. There's no doubt. And they got Hyun-Jin Ryu, which we miss him dearly here at Dodger Nation. We miss Hyun-Jin, but we did get David Price, but we still miss Hyun-Jin. He was great for us, and we appreciate him, and he was just such a good guy as well.
So sorry to interrupt you on your point with the Blue Jays. One of my buddies that who just graduated from NAU, Giant Crane, he brought up a good point that I thought made a lot of sense, at least for the 2020 season, and that's if the Blue Jays do end up going far, you can put a lot of credit to their young bats that might heat up, yes. But one point that he brought up that I really agree with was you can give a lot more credit to how well their prospect Nate Pearson does. If he does well and he can carry a rotation that still needs a lot of work with Ken Giles at the end in the bullpen, and a little bit more bullpen work as well, I think that can at least get them into the conversation of making a postseason. And then depending on how well he does, along with the rest of the bullpen and the rotation, that might set them apart to actually make the postseason.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Sebastian. And that was so well said. I would say that Padres are a threat. I hate to say it.
They're not. Everyone's on the Padres. They are not a sleeper team. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was I'm sorry, Heather, that you were the one to say it, but I was waiting for that. I am not on the Padres band. I just think there are so many more better teams out there that I don't think they're going to do it.
I can name a million more like Zach. I think both of us can name every team in the league, basically. But I will go with my stalwarts being the Dodgers, Yankees. I think they're the favorites. Yes, the Astros have a chance. Okay, every team has a chance, but that would just stink for baseball. So let's not mince words. I could go on, but I'm going to say my sleeper team is Tampa as well, even though that was taken by Zach. So my ultimate sleeper team. So Chucky, what do you got for us?
I was going to go with the Mariners. I was looking at them. They have a lot of great people over there. They have a stacked lineup that I could go into, but I'm going to go with the White Sox, actually. I just want to give credit to the Mariners. I think they could make a run for sure. I don't think they were mentioned yet, and I really like their staff and what they've done. They're always in it, and they're the only team not to make a World Series. How sad is that? Even though they won like the most games in a season, which is incredible. But
name 2 starting pitchers for the Mariners, Chuck.
Justice Sheffield, because he used to be a Yankee. That's it.
That's about. Yeah, they need help on their pitching staff. You're right. That's why I'm switching to White Sox, because I like the pitchers they got. They just got Kuchel. They're getting a lot of different pitchers on their staff, and they still have Gonzalez. They have Encarnacion. They got off of the trade. They got Grandal from Milwaukee. They're rolling in terms of trades, and I think that if Michael Kopech and Nick Madrigal, I think is his name. I can't pronounce his last name, but and even Luis Robert, he was awesome last year. If these guys start to pan out for him, I really think that the White Sox, could crash the AL Central for the Twins. Everyone's high on the Twins, but I think that the White Sox could come in. They were just about 500 last year. I think they went like 79 and 83. So yeah, we'll see how it goes with them in the upcoming season. I really like the Sox this year, though. I think Alex was right. We could get a little Chicago rivalry this year. Both teams are still going to be heating up and good, even though one of them just lost a manager. But I like the sign with Ross with the Cubs. I think that was good.
Yes, and I just want to also shout out the Angels for you, Chucky. They still need pitching. Sorry, and I also want to shout out
that. I don't know about that. I think our pitchers are pretty decent. We just got a good left-handed pitcher from Louisville in the draft. Otani's coming back in as a two-way player. We got some good pitchers. I still wouldn't say we're a sleeper team just yet. With Rendon, we got some good bats, but we do need some a little bit of relief help, I would say.
Yeah. I just also want to shout out quickly the Cleveland Indians. We overlook them because they're such a small market, and they also lost some guys, and including Puig, which I love Puig. I hope he gets signed by somebody. But I think that if their pitching is healthy, is their key for them. Health for them is always a problem, isn't it? So Cleveland Indians, that AL Central's wide open, more wide open probably than any other division except maybe the NL East. I'll see what I think, but when the season starts. But yeah, I think shout out to them as well, because Cleveland, man, that's a 70-year drought, I think, right now. Wow. Just wow. So, yeah.
Yeah, that division is almost assuredly for the White Sox this season in my eyes. It's just wide open. Looks like a big piece of candy for the White Sox to eat. I mean, the Royals are trash and always will be. And then after them are so the Indians lost pretty much, all their key starters over the last season and a half. And they could have a good year, they still got the good bats. And other than that division is just the Tigers non-existent.
Or Kluber too,
Kluber left, yeah. No Kluber, no Trevor Bauer.
No more Kluber.
The thing that I think is still saving the Indians, though, is that they've done a very good job with drafting late good pitchers, so such as Shane Bieber. I don't remember if he was either drafted in the 6th or the 14th round. And there's someone else that's now on the rotation.
Clevenger, maybe?
Yeah. I don't know if it was Clevenger or not. I think it's a rookie that made an appearance in 2019. I wish I could remember the name, but I just can't right now. I will give the Indians credit that even though they have traded away their top starters in Bauer and Kluber, who's, let's admit it, on the back end of his career, I think that was a fine trade to get off the book. They still have a decent amount of good prospect pitchers that can make an impact. Are they going to be the ace of Corey Kluber when he won a Cy Young? Probably not. Will they get close to that? Sure, maybe. A very good number 2 or a just below average number 1 starter is, I think, what they have in Shane Bieber, Mike Clevenger, and a lot of their other prospects. So I think even though they trade away to their top starters, I think they'll be fine for the long term.
I think you're right in Shane for sure. I'm really on his train, and I think that even though they lost Kluber, I mean, he was with Garrett Cole for most strikeouts, last year. So it's going to be interesting to replace him, and we'll see how it goes. But we do got to wrap up here, guys. We're going a bit long on time, so thank you so much for joining in. We really appreciate you guys coming in and joining Your Take, Our Take. It's been great having you guys on and sharing your memories and getting some sleepers out there. We got to let the fans know who's coming up.
And yes, we want to hear from the fans. What is your sleeper team? And we just want to thank you guys so much. And come back anytime. And we've loved talking to you. It's been great. And yes, be fans of the friends of the pod and come back anytime you want. We'll have you. We love it.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Chuck and Heather. Can't wait to be back.
You guys.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Alex, Sebastian. Take care.
We'll see you guys soon.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to All Talk, No Balk. As you guys may have heard, we've heard a couple of text messages during the show, and we thank our listeners, we thank our fans for sending in their memories. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to them all today. We're running low on time. We had a big segment for Your Take, Our Take, which was great. We hope you enjoyed it. And we were also going to talk about Ian Desmond. You know, he came out with that statement talking a lot about the injustice in baseball right now. He's really a man for the people. I love what he's doing right now. We're going to highlight him next week on our first segment so we could give him more of a focus and start our show off right with him. I also just wanted to bring up other players that are sitting out as well. We have Nationals, 2 players for the Nationals, first baseman Ryan Zimmerman and pitcher Joe Ross are now also to sit out for the 2020 season, in case you didn't know that, guys. So a lot of big news going around. We also have big news for you guys next week. We want you to send in your favorite baseball player, your baseball crush. All your men out there, send in who's your baseball crush, who's sexy to you, who's your guy. And we want to make sure that we know who it is, and make sure that you list a place. Would you take them to the stadium? Would you take them to a nice dinner, a movie, mini golf, skydiving? Are you risky? What do you want to do with them? So make sure you send it in.
Yes, and keep it rated G, and this is just fun for us, and we already have ours, I think, but we'll keep thinking. And for the men out there, don't be afraid to send us your man crush, you know, like we all have them. There are lots of attractive players in baseball. We know that for a fact. And, you know, there's lots of good guys too.
Bryce Harper, he ain't bad.
Harper,
he's an ad. I don't know.
So yes, and there's also guys with good personalities. Let's not forget about that. Golden personality guys. So those could also be on your list.
Right,
There's no
some boy next door, maybe not the rugged looking guy, but just some cute little nice boy next door. You never know. That's why we want to see your opinion. We want we want to get you out there. So just send it in, and we can't wait. Heather, you want to talk about all our numbers? We want to make sure the fans can reach us. Come talk to us. Where do we got? What's on the deck this week?
For that vivid description of what a crush is, first of all. Yes, that concludes our second episode, Summer Camp of All Talk, No Balk. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to you could find all of our written pieces at callthebullpen.com. Yes, everything will be in the description below on Spotify and YouTube, as always. Find us on YouTube at The Bullpen, or you could search All Talk No Balk. It should come up. We fixed that problem. If you guys were having problems last week, we fixed it. It's all good. You could email us your questions or your crushes at bullpenbaseballpod@gmail.com. Again, that's bullpenbaseballpod@gmail.com. And our phone number, you could call in. Please call in. We love to hear your guys' voices and possibly have you on the pod at 626-56 Charles, 626-566-8026. Again, that's 626-566-8026. Lots of sixes, like the devil's number. But we're the angels, not the devils. Ha! Look at that.
We're on the inside.
You can find us on Spotify at The Bullpen, and we're on Instagram, Twitter, and our Facebook is Guys. But we're on Instagram and Twitter. Twitter is at The Bullpen 12, and you can find us at Instagram, The Bullpen _. So that's all of our social media, and I think that's it, Charles. And he has a Starbucks. Yeah, he loves your Starbucks drink. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you guys so much. We've loved talking with 3 of our friends of the pod, and we hope to talk to them again soon. And we can't wait to talk to you guys about Ian Desmond, baseball crushes. Maybe he's a baseball crush because he is woke. So that's awesome. So yes. Mwah. Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Take care.